So for problem number 10, it says determine whether the triangles are similar. If they are, write a similarity statement. Explain your reasoning. So I have two angles, and really what it boils down to, I've got, this is congruent to this. In other words, the measure of angle A is equal to the measure of angle X is equal to 20 degrees. Okay? Now, 78 does not equal 83. So what I got to do is I got to figure out one of these third angles to prove my thing. So over here, kind of small, I'm going to say the measure of angle X plus the measure of angle Y plus the measure of angle W. What do all three angles have to add up to?
180.
180, right? So then to find the measure of this, so I need to find the measure of W. So let's plug in what we know. Measure of X is 20 degrees plus the measure of Y is 78, and then plus the measure of angle W is equal to 180. Now, I can do this. I wanted to show you this because when we did it yesterday, I don't know if you guys realize this. If I subtract the 20 and subtract the 78 at one time, I could do the same thing on the other side like this. Now, normally we don't do it this way. And then that gives me the measure of angle W is equal to 180 minus the sum of 20 plus 78. So I just kind of skipped all this stuff in the middle, and I said, well, 180 plus or minus the sum of the other two angles, blah, blah, blah. So I just wanted to prove and show you that, yes? What'd you do with your paper? Oh, well, come get one. Next time, try to get this taken care of before.
I didn't know.
Okay, hurry up. I'm recording. Thank you. So anyways, the measure of this, let's figure out what that is. 180 minus 20 plus, oops, you got to put it in parentheses. 20 plus 78. Yeah, you're right, but I just want to make sure, okay? 82 is the answer. Okay? So that means that the measure of W, this right here, is 82 degrees. So no. If this would have been 83 degrees, then we'd be good to go, but it's not. And if we do the same over here, if I say 180 minus the sum of 20 plus 83, this is 77. So we could say not similar. And so you can make the similar sign with the slash through it. Actually, that kind of looks like K. Don't do that, or chi. Okay, so it's not similar. I couldn't prove it by angle.
What's chi?
It's a Greek letter chi. We use it in statistics. Anyways, let's focus on this. So now it says show, problem number 11 says show that triangle ABC is similar to ABD. Now when we have a triangle within a triangle, I like to sketch them out separately and then go from there. So ABC looks like this. I have A, I have B, I have C. I know that this is a 90-degree angle. And then it says ABD. So I've got A, B, D, where this is a 90-degree angle. And it says show that they are similar.
The right angle.
Well, the right angle is one angle, but isn't angle A congruent with angle A?
Yeah.
So you could say triangle ABC is similar to triangle A, B, D by angle similarity theorem. Or postulate. I can't remember what this textbook says. So how do I know that? Well, I have two angles that are congruent. The measure of angle B is equal to the measure of angle D, because they're both 90 degrees, right? And then the measure of angle A is equal to the measure of angle A. What property is that? Do you guys remember? Reflexive. Okay. So because I have two congruent angles in the triangles, then I can prove similarity. All right, let's move on to the next one. Now it says for number 12, it says determine whether triangle RST or triangle LMN is similar to ABC. Now, so we got to do the proportions and cross multiply, and they should be equal to each other. So I'm just going to say, see how I've got LM and ABC? So I'm going to say AB over BC is equal to LM over MN. Then I'm going to plug in the numbers and see. So for AB, I've got 20 all over BC, which is 15. And if they're similar, this will be equal to LM, which is 60, and then MN, which is 52.5. Now, I already know that they're not similar because the scale factor is 3. In other words, 20 times 3 equals 60, but 15 times 3 equals 45. Let me double check this. MN 52.5. So when I cross multiply, an interesting thing will happen. When I say 20 times 52.5, I'm going to get 1050, and then if I cross multiply again, I'm going to get 60 times 15, I get 900. Well, 900 does not equal 1050. So ABC is not similar to LMN. Okay? Now let's do the other one. I'm going to do the same thing. ABC, BC, or AB over BC. And then I'm going to say RS over ST. Now I'm going kind of quick, but I'm just taking the first two letters and the first two letters. AB corresponds to RS. Then the last two letters, ST corresponds to BC. Plug and chug. Well, this one will be 20 over 15. And then RS is 59.5. Oh, no. RS is 52.5. Thank you. 50.
RS is 7.
Oh, you're right. See, I'm not awake yet. This first thing in the morning stuff. Oh, and then ST is 52.5, right?
Yeah.
All right. So again, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say 70 times 15 is equal to 20 times 52.5. Let's see what we get. 70 times 15, that's 1,050. 20 times 52.5, that's 1,050. So because they are equal, then I can say with confidence triangle RST is similar to triangle ABC. So I think the scale factor is 3.5, right? So if I say, yeah, trust me, it is. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, we're almost done. I heard a request for some Khan Academy. Guess what? As soon as we're done with this, you'll get your wish You could do Khan Academy after
Who
this.
said they wanted to do content?
I heard it right when I walked in the classroom.
Was it you, Mariah?
All right, let's go. To solve this, I need BC. So we're gonna. It doesn't matter what we pick. I'm just gonna say AB over BC should be equal to RT over TS. Oh no, it does matter because I got RS here. Oh jeez. See, this RS has to. So what I need to do then, I'm gonna say RS. I gotta include RS. So RS has to correspond to a value on ABC. So it's first and third letter, so it'd be AC. Yep. Equals this. And then I gotta have BC somewhere, so I'm gonna say BC, but those are the last two letters, so that's gonna correspond to TS. Now the reason I did it that way is I had to put both of these algebraic expressions in here so I could solve for x and then plug them back in. But the question is, find the value of x that makes ABC similar to RTS. Actually, when I think about it, I don't know if that would change the answer or not. It shouldn't. We should have been able to do it the other way, but that's okay. We need to practice with this. So AC is 28. BC is 4x. Oh, this is going to be a quadratic if I do it that way. 4x plus 20. That's okay. You guys need to practice. Is equal to RS, which is x plus 30, all over TS, which is 50. All right. So now what this means is I'm going to cross multiply this. I'm going to write, you're going to have to write way up towards the top because we're going to need a little bit of space here. So 28 times 50, actually, we're going to need a lot of space. 28 times 50 is equal to the quantity x plus 30 times the quantity 4x plus 20. This might be easier than you guys think. All right, so I'm going to do the 28 times 50, which is 1400. Now to find this, because I need room here, to find out what this, you could do a method called FOIL. You can multiply the first, inner, outer, last, and distribute each term through both terms. But I like to distribute, hold on a second. Hello, this is Mr. Adams. Yes. You need to go to the office. Okay. So now when I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say x plus 30 up here, and then I'm going to say 4x plus 20 here. So I'm going to multiply the row times the column. So what's 4x times x? 4x squared, right? You got two x's being multiplied. What's 4x times 30? 120x, very good. What's x times 20?
20x.
Very good. He says with enthusiasm. What's 20 times 30? 600. So that means all this stuff equals is 4x squared. Now this term and this term are like terms. What's 20x plus 120x?
140x.
A positive 140x. And then we have a positive 600. See that? Now in order to solve a quadratic, what I need to do is I need to subtract 14. I got to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 1400 from both sides. Now 1400 is a constant, so it'll only The only like term on the right side of the equal sign is 600, because that's the only term that doesn't have the variable x. Well, 1400 minus 1400 is 0. And then I got 4x squared plus 140x. And then 600 minus 1400 is negative 800. Okay? Now, 800 is a big number. It's a big number. So, what I need to do is maybe reduce some things. So, what I noticed is all of these terms are divisible by 4. So, when it comes to multiplication and division, we can do multiplication and division to an equation so long as we do it to every term. So, to reduce this, I'm going to divide this by 4, I'm going to divide this by 4, I'm going to divide this by 4, and divide this by 4. What's 0 divided by 4? 0. What's 4x squared divided by 4? Just x squared. What's 140 divided by 4? Well, I did the math already. 140 divided by 4 is 35. So that's going to be a positive 35x. And then what's negative 800 divided by 4? Negative 200.
Get it right.
So now, don't get started. Now, what I need to do to factor this further, to solve for x, I want to make it look kind of like this. So I'm going to use this box method backwards. So over to the side, we're going to factor this, but now I'm going to draw my box. And I'm going to put the first term, which is x squared, and then I'm going to write the second term, which is, or the last term, which is negative 200. And I'm not sure if I'll be able to factor this, but we'll see. I need to think of two numbers that I multiply together that gives me negative 200. Hold on, let me finish what I'm saying. 2 and 10. I think you meant 10 and 20. But remember, one of them is going to be negative, and the bottom line is they have to add up to 35. Now, 2 and 10 will not add up to 35. But if I multiply by 40 and 5, 40 times 5 is 200, right? Yeah, I'm getting there. So a student said, doesn't one of them have to be a negative to make it negative 200? So we have to determine which one's going to be negative. Is it going to be the 5?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be the 40?
5.
Why do you say the 5? Let's try it. The nice thing about guessing and checking is if we chose the 40, which it isn't 40, but if we chose the 40, we'd get a negative 35. But because we're choosing negative 5, we'll end up with a positive 35. In other words, 5 times x is negative 5x, right? So negative 5 times x is negative 5x. 40 times x is just positive 40. So here we have 40x minus 5x. What's that equal? 35x. See how that works? So then what I've done is I figured out that it can be factored into x plus 40, right? Times 5 minus, or x minus 5. Man, I'm not awake today. I'm feeling a little sickly.
Want to go home?
No, I think it's like allergies. Yeah, I'm not going home. We're finishing this worksheet. So anyways, now to solve this, I have to remember that 0 equals 0 times 0, right? So think that in your head.
Oh.
So that means that x plus 40 has to equal 0, and x minus 5 has to equal 0. So how do I solve for the two solutions to this? I'm just going to subtract 40 on this equation, and I get x equals negative 40. And if I do the same thing here, God bless you, I get x equals positive 5. So the value for x that makes this stuff work is x equals positive 5 or x equals negative 40.
That was long.
Yeah, that was a long one. That's because of the quadratics. Now, on the next one, if you look at this, you'll see that it says determine whether the two triangles are similar. If they are similar, write a summary. The scale factor between triangle 1 and triangle 2. So here we're going to use the side angle side theorem for similarity. Now, for similarity, the sides must be proportional. Let me just write that all down because that'll confuse you guys. Proportional. Okay? So, if I look at this, in other words, xy over yw has to equal ab over bc. I already know that angle b and angle y are congruent, right? So that's the angle part. So I need a side angle and a side, and what qualifies this is that the measure of angle b is equal to the measure of angle y. So it's still side angle side, but we got to make sure that the sides are proportional. The easiest way to do that is to do this. Okay. So then xy is 72. By the way, the scale factor is 2, isn't it? Or it should be. But you'll find out in a second. In other words, what do I multiply 36 by to get 72? 2. What's 20 times 2? 40. Uh-oh. Bum, 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 bum. But let's go through the process so you guys can see it. So 72 over YW, which is 35, should be equal to AB, which is 6. Man, I'm just going crazy today. And then over BC. And so when I multiply this, um, 72 times 20. Oh, did I? 72 times 20 is 1440. So 72 times 20, and I gotta do 35 times 36. That is gonna equal 1440. Now, if 35 times 36 is 1440, well, bam, with the bacon sizzle, we've proven, we're able to prove that they're similar. So 35 times 36 is 1260. Wah, 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 wah. They don't equal. Not. Well, bam with the bacon sizzle. Not similar. Any questions on that?